What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of NBA action here on Tuesday, February 25th. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight. We're also going to look at a bunch of the biggest college basketball games on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday did not go great, guys. Took a couple of pretty annoying beats. First up, we had the Nuggets -4. A solid win there. A great start to the day, but things did not continue that way. We had the Brooklyn Nets at -3. They managed to straight up lose to the Washington Wizards. So, yeah, feels pretty bad, man, to be on the wrong side of a Washington Wizards win. Those come few and far between, but we thought we were going to have a good win there on the Blazers at -2.5 to cap things off, but they managed to mess around so aggressively at the end of that game, guys. It'll about make you sick. They ended up winning that game by only 2 points. Honestly, guys, that one actually had me pretty tilted. So we end up somehow with a 1-2 day. So obviously not what we were looking for, but we're going to try and bounce back here. Those bad beats cannot possibly keep coming. Do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button, guys. It helps these videos get promoted out there. It also gets us closer to that 1,000 like mark. If we get 1,000 likes on a video, we're going to give away a free Stump the Spread hoodie. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. Once we get to 50,000 subscribers, which we're getting closer and closer every day, we're well over 48,000. We're going to give away a free hoodie for that as well. You can also now sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos. They get your names up on screen just like right now. And also, guys, they qualify for our monthly hoodie giveaway to members. We did one this month. I've decided we're going to keep doing that every month. It went smooth. It went great. We're going to give away a hoodie each month to the channel members. Guys, all of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, NHL, and we've got MLB right around the corner. Click the link in the description to head over to StumpTheSpread.com and check us out. If you aren't sure if a premium pick package is right for you right now, try us out by signing up for our free email list. That'll get you updates on our results and free picks straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking today. We'll give you our best advice on all of them. We're committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. We have the Boston Celtics going on the road here to take on the Toronto Raptors. Boston comes into this game playing pretty well, guys. They've won now 5 in a row. They're fresh off another, not quite as dominant, but a solid win there over the Knicks. So they'll definitely take that. They're playing really, really well. They've just had a great season overall, despite at times it kind of looks like they're sleepwalking, but they've got 41 wins already, guys. They're 41-16 on the year. Not too many things for me to nitpick about. We do see Jrue Holiday probably going to be out for this game, it's looking like. Yeah, due to rest, yeah, he's not going to be playing in this one here on Tuesday. So, yeah, Jrue Holiday won't be out there. We see Al Horford on the list as well. So is Luke Cornett. We're not too worried about him, but Horford is technically questionable for this game. So we'll see if he suits up, but should be close to the full-strength Celtics. Obviously, not having Jrue Holiday, like missing a starter, isn't great, but that opens up more Peyton Pritchard minutes, and that has not been a bad thing at all this season. So we'll see what Boston can do here on the road against the Toronto Raptors, who are 18-39 on the year. They're not having a great time, but they're fresh off a nice win against the Suns, a 127-109 win. There's good things to be said about this Toronto Raptors lineup, guys. I mean, quickly, a nice day out there. He's a plus 29 in his, what did he play, 30 minutes? Yeah, 23 points for him, 23 points for RJ Barrett, 20 there for Scotty Barnes. And, you know, there's some pieces coming down the pike. Like, once we see Brandon Ingram out there, like, this team could be very, very interesting next season. We'll see what we actually get. Obviously, Toronto not having a storybook year right now, but there is hope out there for Toronto Raptors fans. So we'll see what they get done here. Looking at the injury report, it looks okay. Grady Dick is on there. Jakob Poeltl is on there as well. Dick looks like he is going to be, looks like he'll be available. He's probable for this game with a thigh bruise or something like that. And Jakob Poeltl, guys, is questionable there with that hip complaint. So looking at the numbers here, guys, the Toronto Raptors are getting 11 points at home. We've got a total of 226.5. Boston, 14-1 against the spread on the road. 11-28-1 against spread after a win. That's a number that's been terrible. Fading Boston coming off win was becoming a system play. Here in the back end of the season, I don't know if it can be quite a system play necessarily, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. We've got they're 31-28 to the under. Toronto 18-12-1 against spread at home, 9-8 against spread after a win. They are 30-27 to the over. Guys, I'm definitely leaning towards the Toronto Raptors here getting 11 points. I really want to find out if Jakob Poeltl's going to play in this game or not. If he is going to play, that would be great. That would be a big step in the right direction here. But regardless, guys, I think this is a pretty good chance to take the Raptors. These big teams, these very, very successful teams, when they go on the road to Toronto, have struggled a lot this season. So I think this is a very good spot to be on the Raptors and those points. Next up, guys, staying in the Eastern Conference, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers going on the road to take on the Orlando Magic. The Cavs come into this game 47-10 on the year. They're absolutely cruising. What is that? They're on a 7-game winning streak. They just took care of business against the Grizzlies. It was a little bit closer of a game than you would maybe expect, but they did some good things. Donovan Mitchell, a huge game there. 33 points from him, 25 from Mobley. Some nice shot making there down the stretch just in general. I mean, they did only shoot 27% from 3 in the game, so this could have been, a blowout, but they managed to win despite not having their best shooting night. Ty Jerome didn't have that problem. He put up 26 points off the bench, so good stuff there. DeAndre Hunter, their newly acquired guy at the trade deadline, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but there was enough going on there that Cleveland managed to get a nice win, if not a super comfortable one. They dominated the boards in this game. That will definitely go a long way to getting you those wins. So we'll see if they can run it back here. Their injury report comes into this game. We just see Darius Garland on there. He's right now dealing with a hip issue. He's questionable for this game, but I would say he's maybe slightly close to probable, but I don't know. It seems like a legitimate questionable. This would be his second straight game miss, so we'll see if he suits up. He's going to be going up against a tough defensive team in the Orlando Magic, who are 29-30 on the year. They're fresh off a desperately needed win there against the Wizards, although they have won 3 out of their last 4, so got to give them credit where credit is due. They've been an interesting team this season for sure. They got off to an incredibly hot start, but had faded there towards the trade deadline and the All-Star break and stuff like that. Like, it was getting very, very murky. They're currently in the 7th seed, but they are, 3.5 games back of the Pistons, so looks like Orlando very, very likely to end up in the play-in out there in the East, which they've had a lot of injuries this year. I can understand why that would happen to them, but we'll see if they can get things back on track. They're healthy for this game, with the exception of Jalen Suggs, guys. He's still, dealing with that quad issue. He's listed as out for Tuesday's game against the Cavaliers, so he will not make his return. The dude has been out since technically January 25th, but he only played 16 minutes in that game. He's really been out since more like the very beginning of January, so we'll see when he comes back. It'll be a big boost for them, but I don't know, guys. We'll see what they do in this specific matchup. We see the Magic are 6.5-point underdogs here at home, so definitely not getting a ton of respect there by the odds makers, but they are going to be against one of the best teams in the East. We've got a total of 225.5. Cleveland 17-9 against spread on the road. 31-14-1 against spread after a win. That's an NBA best mark against spread after win. They're also 38-19 to the over this season. That's an NBA best mark to the over. We also see, guys, Orlando 17-11-1 against spread at home. 15-13 against spread after win, 37-22 to the under. That's an NBA best mark to the under. So that over-under trends, they couldn't possibly be, more counter to each other. Looking at the, season series here, these teams haven't played in a long, long time. The Cavaliers got an 11-point win the first time they matched up, but not a whole lot to go off of there. Guys, this is a tough one. I'm going to be leaning towards Cleveland on the road in this one to get the win and cover, but this is going to be a tough game, guys. I don't know if this is going anywhere near the pin comment. If Suggs was back, I would definitely like the Magic, but with him not out there, guys like Garland and obviously guys like Donovan Mitchell could have big games, but we don't even know if Garland's going to play for sure, so it's a little bit of a wait-and-see spot with a slight lean towards Cleveland. Next up, guys, we got the Milwaukee Bucks going on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. The Bucks come into this game 32-24 on the season. They've won 4 in a row now. They just took down the Heat by 7, so not exactly a blowout win there, but they'll take it. It's not a bad win. They did give up 40 points to Tyler Hero. That's not a great look, but Milwaukee has not been a great defensive team, especially on the perimeter this year. Dame, not really known for his defense. He did put up 28 points. We saw Giannis play. He was a plus 16, put up 23 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. So stuff in the stat sheet there. Gary Trent Jr. played well off the bench. Kevin Porter Jr. played well off the bench. Kyle Kuzma, 16 points from him, pretty efficient, and played some good defense. So really liking what we're seeing from Milwaukee, but are they ready to, take on a tough Western Conference team? Seems like a bit of a big ask. I mean, sure, you've won 4 in a row, and they did beat the Clippers and the Timberwolves in there, so maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. We see Giannis on the injury report as always. Gary Trent Jr. on there as well. Giannis probable. Gary Trent Jr. also probable for this game as they head to Houston to take on the Rockets, who are fresh off a tough loss against the Utah Jazz of all teams. Houston, we've been having some problems lately, guys. It has not looked great at the Jazz, that 124-115 loss. I mean, Sengun had a big day, but they couldn't really slow down Keontae George. We saw the Rockets lose this game despite shooting 40% from 3. They shot only 10 of 18 from the free throw line, so that's not a great look. The rebounding battle did not go their way. They got crushed on the boards. Just a rough game out there. I mean, Jabari Smith Jr. coming back looked terrible. Only 3 points, 1 of 8 shooting in his 29 minutes. Amen Thompson, a nice game. Dylan Brooks, though, a bad shooting night from him. Sengun really tried to carry the team. I mean, Jalen Green played great as well, but it just was not enough. Jeff Green, 16 points there off the bench. Does the heart good there to see Jeff Green still contributing on an NBA team. Very, very awesome to see that. But All that does come in a loss here. And yeah, Houston not having the best time lately. Fred VanVleet, they really seem to need him back pretty desperately at this point. I mean, they need that floor general out there. He's questionable for this game, so there's a chance he comes back. Other than that, they're relatively healthy. But yeah, they haven't had him since February 1st, and until he comes back, I'm going to be very, very worried about this team. They're 4.5-point favorites at home in this one. We've got a total of 227.5. Milwaukee, 10-17 against spread on the road. 14-17-1 against spread after a win. They're 29-28 to the under. Houston, 13-14 against spread at home. 12-9 against spread after a loss. 30-26-1 to the over. Guys, I'm taking the Milwaukee Bucks and the points in this one. They're the healthier team. I don't like Houston without VanVleet. It's looked very, very problematic. There's nobody on Houston that can really guard Giannis. The Bucks seem very, very locked in right now, and Dame's playing great. Go ahead and give me the Bucks, getting a couple free possessions. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now guys, back to the games. Next up guys, we got the Phoenix Suns going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Suns, things are not looking good guys. They're fresh off that 127-109 loss at Toronto. They're only 27-30 on the season, which puts them way, way down there in the 11 seed, 2 games back of the Sacramento Kings. It's looking like a very, very real possibility that the Phoenix Suns miss the playoffs completely this season. In that 127-109 loss against the Toronto Raptors, Devin Booker put up, 31 piece? Yeah, 31 points for him, 30 from Bradley Beal, who's in the starting lineup. Kevin Durant, only 15 points in 40 minutes. Bro is starting to look a bit disinterested in this, disaster. I mean, he had 3 steals and 3 blocks. It's not like he wasn't trying out there. Kind of an off shooting night, but the bench looks horrendous. As a team, they shot 25% from 3, and this is all against the Toronto Raptors. Not a good look at all. Phoenix comes into this game, in terms of their health, it looks very, very good, but just not having a good year, guys. And the vibes out there in Phoenix are terrible. So they're going on the road to take on the Grizzlies, who are in a pretty big bounce back spot. I mean, they're fresh off that 129-123 loss at Cleveland. They're 37-20 on the year, so not exactly having a bad season, but we continue to see Ja really struggle against good teams. I mean, he did put up 21 points in that game, so a little bit better of a performance from him, but Maine only 7 points, 22 from Jaren Jackson Jr. As a team, they shot, almost 40% from 3, but a lot of those 3-point makes were coming from guys like Luke Kennard and Santi Aldama. We did see Jalen Wells shoot the ball well from 3, but yeah, 0 for 7 from 3 night from Desmond Bane, a 2 for 4 night from Ja. You can't really count on that though, and a 1 from 5 night from Jaren Jackson Jr. So a little bit of a rough night. They're definitely in a bounce back spot here. They come into this game in terms of their health, looks very, very good. Everybody should be rested and ready to go. This team actually has a very, very solid second unit as well, so that depth is going to be a huge, huge problem for the Suns. That's one of the big reasons the Grizzlies are 8.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 244.5. Phoenix 11-19 against spread on the road, 14-15 against spread after a loss, 29-28 to the under. Memphis 18-9 against spread at home, 14-5 against spread after loss, 35-22 to the over. Guys, I'm not messing with the over-under, but I'm definitely taking the Grizzlies here at -8.5. I think they win this game by at least 10 points the vast majority of the time. It's a pretty good matchup situation for Memphis in this one, and I think they comfortably take care of business here against a Suns team that really just seems like, kind of outside of Devin Booker, that they're done with this season. Next up, guys, we're looking at the San Antonio Spurs going on the road to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. The Spurs come into this game 24-31 on the season, but they've lost 2 in a row and 3 out of their last 4. That whole news, guys, about Wembanyama, not going to be playing the rest of the season, dealing with that blood clot in his shoulder, pretty concerning stuff. There's so many varying reports out there. You really can't tell if this is something to be concerned about long term, or if he's just going to be fine next season. It'll all be no big deal, and this is only going to improve the Spurs draft stock here. But we'll see what happens. San Antonio obviously not having a great time losing against the Pelicans in Game 1 of this little 2-game series there in New Orleans. Not a great look. They gave up 22 points to Zion, which obviously not that horrible to give up to Zion, but yeah. We didn't see anybody have a very good night out there. I mean, yeah, just not looking good. Not looking good. What do we get from Fox? Yeah, 13 points from Fox, 4 points from Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes 13. This whole team just seems incredibly demoralized by the entire Wemby situation. And I can't blame them too much. At this point, it's time for the Spurs to fold it up, pack it in, try and get the best possible draft situation that they can. The Pelicans, on kind of the same side of the coin, guys, they're only 14 and 43 on the year. They have won 2 out of 3 now, so that's cool, but they've got very little to play for either, guys. The Pelicans, I mean, the level we're seeing from Zion now that he's out there playing, but the season's freaking over, guys. Like, it would have been great to see him playing earlier in the year. Maybe he'll stay healthy the rest of the way and give people hope for next season. And I would be very, very cautious to get my hopes up about Zion playing a ton of basketball games. But they dominated the boards in game 1 of this, little series here. So that had to feel pretty good for the Pelicans. And they come into this game playing pretty well. So, maybe there's positives to look at, down the road here for this team. Maybe they want to win some games here at the end of the season. But right now it's looking a little bit bleak. Not a lot of injury news there for the Spurs. In terms of the Pelicans injury situation, guys, they're looking very, very healthy as well. So I'm a little bit surprised to see New Orleans only 2.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 237.5. The Spurs 12 and 15 against the spread on the road, 16 and 14 against spread after loss, 29 and 26 to the over. New Orleans 15, 13 and 1 against spread at home, 5 and 8 against spread after win, 32, 24 and 1 to the over. Maybe you could take over 237.5 if you wanted. I'm not super interested in that necessarily, but I do think this is a great spot to go ahead and run it back and just take the Pelicans at -2.5. I'm seeing no effort from the Spurs right now. All the Popovich news, like get well soon, Pop, like all the good vibes out to you, but all this news for the Spurs has them really down in the dumps. Give me the Pelicans here to get another comfortable win. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Charlotte Hornets going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. The Hornets come into this game 14 and 42 in the season. They've lost their last 3 in a row. They just got dismantled last night, 130-88 against the Sacramento Kings. That's back-to-back games where they've scored 80 points, and their opponents have scored at least 130. So things are getting historically bad there for Charlotte. They're 14 and 42 on the season, so not a lot of positives to report. The injury news isn't necessarily super relevant for the squad at this point. It doesn't feel like it matters who's playing or if it matters. They're just getting destroyed. This team's not trying, and they're getting absolutely destroyed. Mark Williams dealing with the foot issue. We'll see if he comes back for this game. Doesn't seem like a lock at all. Feels like the Lakers may have dodged a bullet there. They're going on the road to take on the Warriors, who have now won 3 in a row and 5 out of their last 6. All of a sudden, everybody's saying the Warriors are back, and it's starting to kind of feel like that as well, guys. I mean, that combination of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry looking very, very good. We saw Steph Curry dealing out some tough lessons there to guys like PJ Washington in that blowout win the Warriors got against the Mavs their last time out. Yeah, you probably don't want to be mocking the celebration of Steph Curry, PJ Washington. That seems like a bold choice. Steph put up 30. We saw 18 from Jimmy Butler. Moses Moody continues to play really, really well after being inserted into the starting lineup. And this is a team that's going to get even better once Kuminga comes back. So a lot of things coming together right now for the Warriors. They come into this game looking pretty healthy overall. Like, not a lot of negatives to report. We don't have a lot of clarity on when Kuminga is necessarily going to be back, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be for this game. So when that happens, I think it's going to be a net positive, but I really hope they work him back in slowly from the bench, and maybe we go ahead and bump guys like Buddy Hield to the pine permanently. But we'll see how that goes down the stretch, guys. The Warriors, massive favorites, 15.5-point favorites at home in this one. We've got a total of 223.5. Charlotte, 13, 12, and 1 against spread on the road, 7 and 3 against spread on no rest, 34 and 21 to the under. The Warriors, 14 and 15 against spread at home, 12 and 17 against spread after a win, 29 and 28 to the under. Guys, I don't think those numbers for the Warriors are super relevant. This is a completely different new look team right now, a completely different Steph Curry. We see, a lot higher effort from Draymond Green out there as well. And, a lot of guys stepping up on the bench. Like, Podziemski is playing his best ball this season by a light year. His best ball since last season, to be honest. So we'll see what the Warriors can do here. I'm kind of expecting them to get the winning cover here against a Charlotte team that seems like it's completely, totally quit on this season. But that's a pretty big number. Probably going to keep this one out of the pinned comment. I do think, however, taking a look at under 223.5 is relevant because, if Charlotte's going to put up 88 points again, maybe that under could come home. Next up, guys, and probably the most highly anticipated game on the slate, we got the Dallas Mavericks going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Lakers and Luka Doncic. The Mavs, 31 and 27 on the year. They're fresh off of that blowout loss at the hands of the Warriors, so that probably doesn't feel great. They had won 3 in a row before that, but yeah, this whole situation in Dallas has gotten really, really weird. I mean, all the news is that Anthony Davis probably going to be able to come back for the end of the season, all that kind of stuff, but how good is he going to be? What kind of shape is he going to be? How is that all going to work here at the end of the year? I'm a little bit worried. Kyrie kind of trying to single-handedly carry this team, but that's pretty rough. Klay not exactly having an amazing season. Kind of, as much as it pains me to say this, it kind of feels like the Warriors dodged a bullet there in terms of not re-signing Klay Thompson. But right now, guys, the Mavs, I don't know. It looks a little bit rough. They come into this game PJ Washington on the injury report. We see Dwight Powell out for this game. Yeah, PJ Washington questionable due to a right ankle sprain. Yeah, Steph messed that boy up. So we'll see how things go down the stretch for the Mavs, but this is going to be a weird game for them going on the road to take on Luka Doncic. Not something that any Mavs fan would have ever wanted to see. The Lakers come into this game winners of 2 in a row. They just got a big 123-100 statement win there against the Nuggets. It's the first game where the whole LeBron-Luka combination was really, really looking like it was totally clicking. We saw vintage Luka. Like, Luka was playing great, put up 32 points. We saw LeBron put up 25. Austin Reeves played great. He's being a little bit overlooked right now. He put up 23, and Rui is playing some fantastic ball as well. The Lakers shot only 39% from 3, which it looks like it would have been crazier, from some of the numbers the starters are putting up, but that's not an unachievable number for this team to reel off on, a fairly regular basis. All that being said, we did not love what we saw from the Lakers bench in that game. It was pretty problematic, guys. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, a plus 21, but only scored 3 points. So we'll see if the bench has some better production in them in this one, but it may not matter, guys. We see the Lakers coming into this game, obviously, looking pretty healthy. We do see LeBron always there on the injury list, but that's not a big deal. He is, probable for this game with his foot or whatever. He's going to be out there. We see the Lakers as 8-point favorites. We've got a total of 229.5. Dallas, 12-15-2 against spread on the road, 15-10-1 against spread after a loss, 30-28 to the over. The Lakers, 16-10 against spread at home, 18-14-1 against spread after win, 28-27 to the under. I can't do anything but take the Lakers here at -8. I think they're going to win by double digits. I think Luka's teammates like LeBron and company are going to be very, very determined, very, very fired up to help him dominate a team and a franchise that they feel like embarrassed Luka by trading him. And honestly, so far, it's just made them look stupid. So definitely love the Lakers here at -8. I'm sure this is going to be a very, very chalky play. So I would jump on this one early before it goes up. But I could see this thing getting up to the Lakers -10 possibly. But I think the Lakers are definitely the way you want to go in this one. I know Kyrie's on the other team, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think it'll be a high-scoring game potentially, but I think the Lakers come out on top by double digits. Now, guys, changing gears, we're going to hop over and look at some of the biggest, or actually a bunch of the biggest college basketball games on the slate. First up, we are looking at the Providence Friars going on the road to take on the Marquette Golden Eagles out there in the Big East. Providence comes into this game 12-15 on the year, so not exactly killing it. They're fresh off a 21-point blowout that they took at the hands of Georgetown, and now they got to go on the road to take on Marquette, a team that already beat them once this season by 28. So that probably doesn't feel great. They've got a look-ahead spot here as well. They're about to take on UConn after this one, and Providence not having the hottest time out there in the Big East. I mean, they've got 6 conference wins, but 6-10 in conference play, probably not the dream for them. They're around 250th in the nation in points per game. The rebounding numbers, somewhat respectable, I'll give them that, but their defense not great. The offense production, like I was saying, not amazing. They don't have a particularly good superstar player that they can rely on to go get them a bucket at any given time, so things looking a bit rough there for Providence. This could be a tough spot for them on the road here against the Marquette Golden Eagles, who are 20-7 on the year. They're currently in 3rd place out there in the Big East. They've had a pretty good year. They're in a bounce back spot though after a tough showing. They did not play well on the road in their last game. They went to Villanova, a team that they had already beaten kind of handily once this season, and got pretty much destroyed. They lost that game by 15 points. Things did not go the way the Golden Eagles would have hoped. I mean, they shot 33% from 3, but they got a little bit homered. We saw Villanova shoot well over double the free throws. We saw Marquette lose the battle of the boards in this one. Yeah, not a good day, guys. I mean, Zayd Lowry played really, really good. 25 points off the bench, but other than that, not a good day at all. So we'll see what Marquette can do in this one, see if they've got a bounce back in them. Obviously, their season-long numbers are very, very nice. Cam Jones, a monster for sure. They're a top 100 offensive team. The rebounding a little bit problematic, but the defense is elite. So looking at the numbers here, I'm not shocked to see Marquette 12.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 147.5. Providence is 5-4 against spread on the road. They're 15-11-1 to the over. Marquette 7-1 against spread at home, 14-11-2 to the under. This is a huge bounce back spot here, guys. We do see, Marquette only has Georgetown on deck, so not a big look ahead spot either. I think we see Marquette bounce back hard here and completely dominate against a Providence team that they've, definitely have the drastic talent edge and have already destroyed by 28 points this season. Next up, guys, we're headed to the Big 12. We're looking at Baylor going on the road to take on Cincinnati. Baylor having a rough time recently, losing 3 out of their last 4. The only win in there was a tough 3-point win there against West Virginia. They lost at Colorado their last time out, and now they've got to go on the road to Cincinnati. Not exactly the easiest opponent. They did beat them by 20 points earlier in the season, but Cincinnati is not the easiest nut to crack. They are 6-10 in conference play. Baylor, on the other hand, 8-8 in conference play. but not playing their best ball right now. And this would be a pretty good time to turn it on, guys. They're going to need to finish this season off strong because it's been a bit bleak down the stretch. It's not looked great. They are 76th in the nation in points per game. That's fine. Cool. I mean, Norchad Omir, a monster, 16 points per game. Cool. 57% from the field. That's very, very respectable. But this team doesn't necessarily destroy opponents on the boards. Their defense, which has historically been very, very good, has slipped a little bit this season. So we'll see if they got a bounce back on them here to go on the road against the Cincinnati Bearcats, who are 16-11 on the year. They're fresh off of a nice win, a 75-63 win over TCU, a team well above them in the standings. We loved what we saw in that game. I mean, Cincinnati's been keeping things close against some tough opponents too, and taking down TCU here, despite shooting only 4 of 20 from 3, has to feel great. They did get a massive edge there on the free throw numbers, so that is definitely helpful. But hey, the Bearcats will definitely take it. They've kept things reasonably, competitive here against West Virginia, Iowa State. They took down Utah, beat the pants off of BYU. So this is a team that's maybe trending in the right direction here, guys. And their season-long numbers, while they don't look great, they have always stayed competitive, and they always play that good defense. So looking at the numbers here, I'm a little bit surprised to see Cincinnati as 2-point favorites. We've got a total of 139.5. Baylor, 1-8-1 against spread on the road this season. They're 16-10 to the over. Cincinnati only 6-9 against spread at home, 19-8 to the under. Guys, I think this is a pretty good game to think about taking under 139.5, but better than that, I think we want to be on Cincinnati at -2. Baylor, just a horrible, horrible road team, and I think that shows up big time in this game. Next on the docket, we're headed to the Big Ten. We've got Northwestern going on the road to take on Minnesota. The Northwestern Wildcats come into this game fresh off a huge win, a 70-49 win at Ohio State. That was not one that very many people would have seen coming, at least, not at that kind of scale. I mean, sure, Northwestern could have kept this game close or maybe even won it, but to blow them out by 21, that is crazy, crazy work. We love what we've seen this season from Nick Martinelli. He's playing well. We like what we see from this team, in terms of their defensive intensity, but the rebounding numbers, the overall offensive numbers have been a little bit lackluster. We'll see if they can, continue what they showed us against Ohio State, but I mean, not before that, things haven't been quite so hot. They lost 3 in a row before that. Their only win before that, in recent history was a win against USC, who's been terrible this year. So definitely Northwestern, still a team with a lot to prove, but they've got a chance to continue proving it here as they go on the road to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, a team that's not, exactly having a great season. They're only 10-6 in conference play. They're 14-13 on the year. They did keep it kind of interesting against Penn State, but eventually lose that game by 9. A game at home, you would have thought they'd have a chance, but this has not been a very good home team this season. Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's tough to say what we should actually expect to see out of this Minnesota team on any given day. I mean, this has not been their year exactly. They shot 20 free throws in the game, only made 15 of them, which I guess is fine, but their opponent shot 25. They didn't shoot the ball well from 3 at all. Dawson Garcia only 11 points in this game, so he's definitely in a bounce back spot. So we'll see what we get out of Minnesota at home, but I'm not holding my breath for a monster performance. Despite the fact they're 2.5-point favorites at home, we got a total of 130.5. Northwestern 5-4 against spread on the road, 19-8 to the over. Minnesota 4-12-1 against spread at home, 15-12 to the under. Guys, I think this is a very good spot to just go ahead and take Northwestern. Getting a free possession in this game, they honestly feel like the better team at this point by kind of a significant margin, and I think that win against UCLA, kind of a fluke. I don't think we're going to see very many more positives from the Golden Gophers here down the stretch. Next up, we're out to the MAC. Guys, we're looking at the Akron Zips. They're 21-6 on the season. They're going on the road in this game to take on Ball State. Akron comes in this game fresh off of a pretty devastating loss against Ohio. They got absolutely demolished in that game, eventually losing 84-67 against an Ohio team that they had beaten by 12 earlier in the season. So going on the road there, a bit tough. They got to play another road game here. They're currently still in the top spot out there in the MAC. I mean, they've still got a 2-game lead over Miami of Ohio, so I don't think they're too terrified, and this team has shown that they can be one of the best offensive teams in the nation. 14th in the NCAA, averaging nearly 84 points per game. Their pace of play leads them to have very good rebounding numbers, very good assist numbers. The defensive numbers obviously aren't insane, but they're not that bad. I mean, they're fresh off of a game not too long ago. I can't remember what day that game was, but they had a game where they gave up only 63 points against Northern Illinois. So some pretty good stuff there. Obviously, they're going up against a Ball State team that they did beat earlier this season, but only beat them by 8 points. So we'll see if they can improve on that a little bit. The Ball State Cardinals, 14-13 on the year. They're fresh off a win over Buffalo, but Buffalo, guys, one of the worst teams there in the conference. We'll see what this team can do. They've got some decent scoring out there, but nothing on the level of Akron. Their rebounding numbers are fine, but not on the level of Akron. And their defensive numbers are actually worse than Akron's defensive numbers. So that's a little bit of a problem here, guys. I mean, in the last time these two teams met, we saw Akron, despite the fact they were at home, only shoot 8 free throws. Ball State shot 20. We saw Akron have a slight edge on the boards. They shot the ball terribly in that game, though. And looking at the numbers here, guys, Ball State getting 8.5 at home. We've got a total of 156.5. Akron 5-5 against spread on the road, 15-9-1 to the over. Ball State 3-8 against spread at home, 14-10 to the over as well. So right off the bat here, over 156.5. Sure, you could talk me into it, I guess, but I'm not that interested in that play, guys. What I'm much more interested in is an Akron minus 8.5 in this one. It's a huge bounce back spot for them after a terrible game against Ohio. I think they're going to come out and they're going to blow the Cardinals completely off the court with their pace of play and some much better shooting than we saw from them the last time these two teams met. Heading out to the SEC, guys, we're looking at number 24 Mississippi State going on the road to take on the number 6 Alabama Crimson Tide. Mississippi State comes into this game fresh off a tough loss there against Oklahoma, a 6-point road loss, not something that Mississippi State, not something that the Bulldogs would have seen coming. This team has been amazing all season long, but against Oklahoma, they just could not quite get it done. Basically an even game there at halftime with Mississippi State having a slight lead, but they just couldn't finish it off. They didn't shoot the ball amazing. We saw Oklahoma get a ton of free throws in this game, so that definitely helped. It feels a lot like these officials are controlling these games quite a bit out there in college, especially, you see some massive home and away splits fairly often. Mississippi State owned the boards in this game, but none of it was enough there at the end. This team has a monster in Josh Hubbard, but could not get the job done there. They're looking for revenge against an Alabama team they lost to by 4 earlier in the season, and the Crimson Tide come into this one fresh off a nice kind of blowout win there against number 17 Kentucky, a much-needed win after losing against Auburn and Missouri. Mark Sears, a monster. This is the top offensive team in the nation, so they've got every reason to be feeling confident here down the stretch, and the odds makers are very confident in Alabama. They are 7.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 170.5. Mississippi State 5-4 against spread on the road, 15-12 to the over. Alabama 7-6 against spread at home, 14-12-1 to the over themselves. Guys, this is a very, very tough spot. I mean, Mississippi State is in this huge bounce back spot. They already played a very close game earlier this season. Obviously, that was a home game there for Mississippi State, and we saw them, honestly shoot less free throws there than Alabama. Alabama shot the lights out in that game and still only won by 4, so this is a weird spot. I'm not going to have this one in a big way, but I'm really leaning towards Mississippi State getting 7.5 on the road in this one. I think they find a way to make this game very, very close there down the stretch, and getting a few free possessions definitely helps. Rolling right along, back to the Big Ten, we're looking at Washington going on the road to take on number 11 Wisconsin. The Huskies 13-14 on the season, losers of 2 in a row, losing against Rutgers and at Iowa their last time out. So now they got to take on a very, very tough Wisconsin team. And yeah, this Washington squad last out there in the Big Ten. They're only 4-12 in conference play. So it has been a rough way to go. Now they've got another tough game. The Badgers 21-6 on the season. They're fresh off of a tough 4-point loss against Oregon though. So they're in a bounce back spot for sure. I mean, this team has some monster scores. They're 27th in the nation in offense. They're a decent rebounding team. They're a good defensive team at times. So I'm not shocked to see them at 15.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 151.5. Washington 5-4 against spread on the road, 15-11 to the over. Wisconsin 8-7 against spread at home, 16-11 to the over. So guys, you could take Wisconsin here, I guess, at minus 15.5, but I see very little value in that. The value play in this one, in my mind, is to take that over 151.5. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this game. I don't think, I think Wisconsin's going to score the ball. I think they're going to score a lot of points in this game, but Washington, they can score the ball as well. I think we get over this number pretty comfortably. I would see this one more in the 160 plus range. Next on the docket, we're looking at South Carolina. The Gamecocks going on the road to take on the Missouri Tigers. South Carolina 11-16 on the season, fresh off of a very rare win though, guys. They got the 84-69 win against Texas their last time out. A huge upset there. I mean, they played really well in this game, scoring 84 points. They shot 45 free throws in this game though. Guys, I am very happy that I was not watching this one. 45 free throws for South Carolina, 27 there for Kentucky, or for Texas, and just, brutal stuff. I can't imagine what it would have been like to watch this game in person. That would have been horrifying. So we'll see if South Carolina can continue to play a little bit better here, but it's a pretty big ask. They're going on the road to play in a very tough environment against the Missouri Tigers, who are 20-7 on the year, but they're fresh off a tough road loss against Arkansas. They lost that one 92-85, fresh off of their huge, win against Alabama. I'm not too shocked to see them have something of a letdown, especially when the Arkansas Razorbacks shot 37 free throws. So we'll see how things round back into form here for Mizzou. Obviously, they've been a very, very good team over the course of the season. 10th in the nation in points per game. They're also a relatively decent defensive team. The rebounding can get concerning, but overall, guys, we've loved what we've seen from Mizzou. And the odds makers have them at 13.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 146.5. South Carolina only 2-7 against spread on the road, 15-12 to the under. Missouri, guys, they are 10-8 against spread at home, 15-12 to the over. I think this is a good spot to slam it on the Missouri Tigers at minus 13.5. It's a big letdown spot for South Carolina after their incredibly rare win. Is that their only win in conference play so far? Yeah, that's their only win in conference play. Yeah, give me Missouri here at minus 13.5. I think they win this game by 20 plus. Easily win it by 15 plus. Definitely love the Tigers in this spot. It's not a huge look ahead spot for them either. So yeah, definitely give me Missouri. Next on the slate, we're looking at number 19 Louisville going on the road to take on Virginia Tech. The Louisville Cardinals, 21-6 on the season. They're having a very good time out there in the ACC. They're only one game back of Duke. They're tied with Clemson for the number 2 spot in the conference. They're fresh off of a nice 8-point win against Florida State, so they'll definitely take that. Chucky Hepburn, a monster, 16 points, 6 assists per game. This is an elite offensive team. Their rebounding numbers are also very, very good. They play some defense. Not a lot of weaknesses to be found for this squad in general, and they've been taking care of business overall. Winning a ton of games out there. So we'll see what they do on the road here against the Virginia Tech Hokies, who are only 12-15 on the season. They come into this game 7-9 in conference play, which kind of goes to show you what kind of shape the ACC is in. But they're fresh off a blowout win at Miami. They'll definitely take that, but it's a win over the worst team in the conference. So they've got a much tougher task here against Louisville. This team doesn't have a monster leading scorer. They average under 70 points per game, somewhere around 315th in the nation in total offense. Kind of the same kind of level in rebounding as well. So they're going to have this is going to be a tough task, guys. They're getting 10.5 points at home. We've got a total of 145.5. Louisville, though, they're 9-1 against spread on the road. That's an NCAA best against the spread on the road mark. Very, very impressive. Virginia Tech only 5-9 against spread at home. They're in a bit of a letdown spot after that win. So I'm going to be leaning here towards Louisville at minus 10.5. I'm not 100% sure if this is going in the pinned comment or anything like that, but I definitely think Louisville is the side you want to be on here, especially, with Virginia Tech coming off that win and Louisville poised to, try and finish off the end of their regular season strong. Last but not least, guys, we're jumping back to the Big 12. We're looking at TCU going on the road to take on West Virginia. The Horned Frogs, 15-12 on the season. They're fresh off a tough road loss there at Cincinnati, though, so that was a little bit rough. This team has been playing okay. They got that big upset win over Texas Tech, then have the letdown against Cincinnati. Now they've got to go on the road again to take on West Virginia, a team that's notorious for being a tough out at home. This isn't a very good offensive team. Their rebounding numbers are weak as well because their pace of play isn't amazing, and their defense is okay, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily elite. So we'll see what they do on the road here against the Virginia Mountaineers, who are 16-11 on the season. They're fresh off a loss at Texas Tech, but they get to go back home now. We'll see what they do. The last time these two teams played each other, was at TCU. We saw West Virginia take the 65-60 loss in that game. A pretty interesting, pretty competitive game there down the stretch. West Virginia really struggled shooting the ball, only got 5 free throws in the game. TCU shot 23 free throws at home in that one. So looking at the numbers for this game, West Virginia 6.5 point favorites at home. We've got a total of 128.5. TCU 3-6 against spread on the road, 18-9 to the under. West Virginia 7-1 against spread at home, 18-8-1 to the under. So right off the bat, you can just follow those trends, blindly take the under. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that, but I think West Virginia minus 6.5 might actually be the play in this spot. I'm probably not pulling the trigger on a favorite of 3 or 4 possessions because of this likely to be a low scoring game, but I could wrap my head around it because I don't think there's any way West Virginia is going to shoot 18 less free throws than TCU in this one. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and to get us closer to giving away another hoodie. Definitely subscribe to the channel to get us much closer to getting another hoodie giveaway. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the link in the description. Get over there to stumpthespread.com. Get on that free email list. Check out our premium picks if you want to. And we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.